All right. And good morning and welcome everyone to today's session of Truly Foundation and A Course in Miracles with your host and guide and teacher and coach, Oliver. I'm delighted to be here and I hope you are. These uh, broadcasts, these postings, whether you're watching it live or the replay, they are totally and completely designed to teach only love. Because love is all that there is in reality. When I say reality, as the Course says, that which is real cannot be threatened. That means that love cannot be threatened. In other words, love cannot be attacked. Love cannot be altered or changed or done away with. Love is the essence of life. And so, our goal and our purpose here is to teach only love. And so, regardless of the topic or the subject matter that we may be unpacking at a particular time or during a particular session, it always has its foundation in love. Or, we talked about here that we don't get hung up with words or definitions. We don't have a precedence here. But we have a foundation, and that foundation is love. That foundation is reality. That foundation is truth. And we sum all of that up sometime by using the word God, right? Just as a point of reference. But we don't even want to get caught up with we don't want to even allow that word to become a block to the pure message. We don't want to let the word God to alter what we can experience here or what we can receive here, what can be healed here, what could be set free here in these sessions. So even as we use words, we put a disclaimer out that words are not all encompassing. Even the word love is not all encompassing. But for the point of communication, we say that which is real, that which is God, that which is love, that which is life, that which is truth. These are all synonymous. That which is Christ. We use the word Christ here as a all-encompassing word. And so all of these words are interchangeable, but we don't want to get caught up in any of the words, or we don't want to you or I or anyone to miss out on the extraordinary revelation that is being set forth here by, being hung up on what word we use here. This is a course in mind training. This is a course in miracles. And this is a course in mind training. This is not a religion. We're not competing with other religions. We're here to share the truth as it is shared here in the Course in Miracles. And we know that the Course was given or is given as a tool to help us to renew our minds, to be transformed from imprisonment by the renewing of our mind, to be transformed from the imprisonment that we placed ourselves in. And so we can be conformed only to the truth and the reality and the love and the Christ self that we all share. The foundation for what we say here is the whole idea of oneness. That though we live in a world of perception, we live in a world of multiplicity, where there appears to be millions and billions of different things that are not connected, that are detached. Everything seems to be an entity in and of itself and not connected to another thing. However, we say that is the world of perception, or we say the world of illusion, because in reality, there is only the one. There's only the one source, the one life, the one essence. There's only one mind. There's only one reality. There's only the love. There's only oneness. In other words, life is, God is, love is, reality is, and there is nothing else. And everything that emanates from that idea of oneness is just a reflection of the oneness that is shared, or the oneness that is. And because of the reality that we are conscious and aware of this, you and I, as conscious beings, we call them human beings, then it comes to reason that it is quite apparent that we are a part of that oneness. We are a part of that life. We are a part of that being. We are a part of that one breath, that one song that exists. And that our individuated lives are merely reflections of that one source. And that whatever is in the source, whatever's in love, whatever's in God, whatever's in reality, it must be in the reflection. So our life is a reflection of what the oneness that we share. So we can honestly say that because we are a part of love, or reality, or God, or truth, that we are God, that we are the truth, that we are reality, and that we are love. And that at the essence of who we are, what we here at Truly Foundation, we call the real you, which means, what we call here truly, which means the real you loves you because the real you is love. Do we embrace this reality for ourselves? You have to ask yourself the question. Are you self-made? Are you made in the image of an idea of separation? Or are you a product of oneness? Are you a product of love and reality? Are you a product of that which is infinite and eternal? What do you say? Who do you say that you are? That's the question. We await your answer. And so this entire journey, this human experience, this human journey we call life, appears to really be about answering that question. Who do you say that you are? And most of us get our start only knowing ourselves based on our entry point, our parents, our family, our community, and then our body identification. That's where we start. That is where all of us start. But there comes a time in our life where there is this deep calling upon the deep. It comes from within us. This great, I say the great itch, where there is an itch, there's an inner itch. There is a inner void where we know that something is misaligned. Something is not quite in harmony. We appear here as these limited beings in this world of limitation, this world of time and space. But there's this deep calling that comes from a place of unlimited. It comes from a place of infinite. It comes from a place of eternal. It comes from a place of allness. And so we all have that experience. The Course says that we will never have a universal religion. In other words, there will never be a time on the planet where there will be just one religion, where people will come to agree on one. And religion is no more than a practice or a method for discovering oneself and one's creator. But the Course says there's never be a time in the history, and there never has been a time, where there's a universal religion. He said, but what we cannot escape, and what all of us will experience, is the fact that we have this universal experience where we have this awakening or this enlightenment experience, or this born again experience, to where we come to discover ourselves in reality. We come to discover that this place where we began as a body, mind, self, born in a family, in a community, and we all fell under the labels of our culture, to say that I am Black, or I am white, or I am Asian, or I am Hispanic or white, or whatever. I'm male, I'm female, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, I'm independent, I'm for this team, I'm for that cause, this cause. I mean, all of the labels of the world that we get to choose to say, hey, yeah, I'm and identify with, which all are limiting, which all are temporary. And none of them adequately, or none of them are complete descriptions of, or really define who we are. We come to discover in our lifetime. It's called an awakening. We come to recognize that we are not self-created, that we are beyond the limitations of being human, but that we are actually spiritual beings, that we're actually, our nature is infinite and eternal. We come to discover that our nature is love. We come to discover that we are timeless and formless being, that we transcend this transitory world, that this is not our home, that this is a temporary experience that we're having, and that we are the only thing here that is eternal. We're the only thing here that is real. Everything else passes away. And I'm not talking about our physicality. That passes away too, because it is only temporary. What is eternal? Is the fact that the real you, the real me, all humanity is love, or God, or reality, or life. That we are that, not in a state of form, but in a state of formlessness, not in the limitation of time and space, but we are these timeless realities. And then it takes some time for us to get used to that. It takes some time for us to reunite with our true self, to be at peace with ourselves and with our Creator, with each other. Because once we discover that we are the love, we are the beloved, then we transform ourselves to be the light of the world, the light that reflects the love that we share, the love that we are. And that's kind of the journey. And then when we have that discovery, everything changes for us. We become purposeful and intentional with our time and our resources. We understand that we're here for a purpose and on a mission. And we can have fun along the way. In fact, we should have more fun. When you wake up, you should have more fun than anybody. Because you realize that you carry your fun, your joy, your peace, your prosperity. You carry your abundant life with you. You are the abundant life. You are the Christ. You are the love that we share. You are the God that we emanate. That you are the all in all. That there's nothing that is missing or broken in your life, but that you are complete and whole. And we use the word to describe completeness and wholeness. Holy. You are holy. You are the beloved and holiness of God. This is who you are in reality. This is who we all are in reality. And when we embrace and accept that reality and begin to reflect that reality, and all the world around us become impacted by the power of love that we share, by the power of the oneness that we share. And so, who do you say that you are? I am love. I am reality. I am the Christ. I am the creation of God. And that makes you happy. And so, here we are on Workbook Lesson 344, and we're still in the section on what is a miracle. And if you haven't heard any of the previous 4 or 5 sessions, you may want to go back and listen, because we kind of went through and unpacked this idea of what is a miracle. And you come to understand that you are the miracle. And what did we say about the miracle? We said the miracle is no more than a correction. And it has to do with your identification, where we make a correct assessment of who we are. Or we make a correction to our assessment of who we are. Where we discover that we are the cause and we're not an effect. But that we are a part of the first cause. We are a part of the source. We are a part of reality. We are one with all of life. And so the miracle is simply a correction in our perception. Perception has to do with duality and how we interpret things in a world of duality, a world of perception. And that for the most part, we all started in a perception about ourselves, or a self-image about ourselves that was not complete or whole or quite accurate. We saw ourselves as these individuated, separated, body-mind selves that was a holy entity into itself, separate and apart from all other selves, as well as separate and apart from our Creator. But then we come to discover that is the wrong perception. That is the wrong understanding. It is the wrong awareness. It is a limited awareness. It is true that there is this human experience, but what is even more true, and even that which transcends our human experience, is the reality that we are the divine creation of God, and we are never ever separated from that divine creation, that we are one with our Maker. We are one with our Creator, that, like Jesus said, as He is, so are we in this world. We remember Jesus' words very succinctly when He said, "When you have seen me, you have seen the Father of all." He said, "I and the Father are one." Well, He wasn't just speaking about His own experience as a human, but He was speaking for all of us, that we all share this oneness with our Father, that we all share this life with our Creator, and when it is never to be separate. So the whole idea of separation is a deception. It is an illusion. And so we built the whole world around that idea, only to discover that it did not make us happy. that it did not align with the truth of who we are. And so once we all had this universal experience of awakening to the truth, we discovered that what? All things are the one thing. And that it is not like there's billions of things out there, but all of these billions of things are merely a projection of the one thing. There's a projection of my mind. That my mind, or the universal mind, is really the source of it all. The mind of God is the source of it all. And it's a projection from us. It is Christ in us, the hope of glory. And so the inner world is our real world, the invisible world. But it's not invisible to the awakened one. It's only invisible to those that are still asleep. So that's why we create Truly Foundation. It is an awakening platform. It is a place where the miracle occurs, to where we correct our perception. We correct our self-image. And so we begin to see things as God sees them. We begin to see God everywhere, love everywhere, that all things are the one thing. And that we don't no longer walk in a distorted perception based on a distorted idea of separation. But now that we look through the eyes of oneness, we see the oneness everywhere. It says that the miracle undoes error in our thinking or in our perception. It's an undoing. The miracle is the undoing of our thinking, the undoing of our wrong perception. It went on to say that the miracle paves the way for the return of reality. In other words, it expands our awareness. We become in community with the Christ consciousness. It paves the way for us to reunite with the reality that we share. And then finally it says it inverts our perception, because the Course says all of us come with a upside down orientation of reality. We was conditioned that way. We place all of our emphasis on effects, and we never looked at the cause. When we have awakened that the cause is all that matters, the love is all that matters. Like it says here, it says the miracle is not that great, but it's the love that inspires it. that love is the essence of all things. And so the miracle is merely when we invert our perception to right side up from upside down. And now we see clearly. We see clearly now, because the reign, REIGN, of the belief in separation has been healed. Our belief in a separated self has been healed. Our self-image of being inferior to one another and inferior to our Creator has disappeared. We now see through the eyes of equality. We now see through the eyes of oneness. And in that perception, everything is loveliness. Everything has been restored to its original state of peace. You might say, well, what about all of the calamity that's still going on in the world? What about all of the foolishness that we see in politics and religion and sports and arts and science and entertainment? What about all the cray-cray that is still out there? And my response to that is, what about it? It only exists because there are others that are still asleep and believing in the separation. And so that belief in separation brings on this consciousness of guilt. It's called sin consciousness. And guilt brings on fear for the future, guilty about the past. And so one that is unaware of the reality that there's only the present moment, there's only the now, or that's the upside down orientation that one is perceiving from. And so there needs to be a miracle. There needs to be a shift in our perception. There needs to be an awakening. There needs to be an enlightenment. And that is not some kind of change. It is merely a recognition of what was always there, of what was always present, of what reality is, of what love is, of who we are. And then we begin to really live. We begin to really, like Jesus said, let our light shine so the whole world can see the goodness of our Creator. That the whole world can see the oneness that we share, and that love conquers all. So our life becomes absolutely purposeful as we are now co-laborers, ambassadors for love's plan for salvation for the entire world, because that's what salvation means, that eventually all humanity will wake up to this truth. Everyone. Love has not forgotten anyone. I don't care what it looks like on the outside. I don't care what the experience has been. It doesn't even matter how many lifetimes you may have lived. Eventually you wake up. No one sleeps forever. In this incarnation, I slept for about 28 years until I woke up to a reality that I was not aware of. I was reminded of the truth. And so since that point, I've been on this journey of transformation. How long have you been on your journey of transformation? Because you're on one, whether you know it or not. How long have you been on this journey of discovery? Because you've been on one, whether you know it or not. All of us are on this journey of discovering the true self, the real you that loves you. And so that's what the miracle is. That's why this great book is called A Course in Miracles. It is actually a training course to train us to train the mind, to bring the mind into alignment with what is true. That is the miracle. To shift our perception. For us to discover the loveliness that we share. It is indeed a course in miracles, because where there was once hatred and bitterness and unforgiveness and inequality and fear and guilt and sin consciousness and all kinds of vain imaginings and hallucinations and fantasies about being something other than you are, about a false self, where that once existed, it now becomes the holiest place on earth, the holiest place in the world. And that is the knowing of the self, the real you. That's love. And so that's my introduction to today's lesson. And we're going to jump right in to workbook lesson 344. 344. We only got, 21 more lessons left, and we will have completed this project. I'm so excited about that. We'll have gone through all 365 of these lessons. Now, it's taken us about a year and a half or longer to do it, but that's okay. The whole thing is that we started and we're going to finish. And thanks to you all who've been here on this journey, regardless of where you jumped in on the journey. I'm just happy that you're here. I am so delighted. I am so grateful that you're here. So grateful. So grateful. And these recordings, you can go to Truly Foundation YouTube channel. If you're viewing this there, or if you're viewing this on my Truly Foundation Facebook channel, or if you're viewing this on my personal Facebook page, or if you're viewing this on my Twitter account, or if you're viewing this on my Instagram account, or if you are viewing this on my business YouTube channel, Truly OB, or regardless of where you're reviewing this, whether in this lifetime or another lifetime, it doesn't matter. These things are archived. They're going to be here until everybody wakes up. And so we are creating something that is eternal, something that is timeless and formless. And if you're listening to this in the 22nd century or whatever, or right here in 2023, that which is real cannot be threatened. And it will bring you the peace of God. It will bring you, or help you to recognize the peace of God that is you. And that makes me happy. To discover one's innocence. The day I discovered my complete innocence. The day I discovered what it really means to be in the beloved. And we all are. The day I discovered my eternal nature. The day that I discovered that in one holy instant, I could release everything. Could just release everything that was not in my best interest. Everything that was not a thought of God. I could just release it instantly and be free. And who the Son sets free, or what the truth sets free, is free indeed. And when I discovered that, a whole new beginning began for me. And it happens to all of us at some point. So, lesson 344. We're in this section on miracles. And we kind of concluded that the miracle is what we are. And that we become miracle workers as we forgive the entire world. That's the miracle. To let go of all of the falsity, all of the delusion, and all of the deception, and all of the false ideas that we embraced about ourselves, about each other, and about our God, our Creator, and about the world. And we let all of that go. Because all of them was merely blocks to our awareness that love was the only thing that was really present. And that's what the Course in Miracles is about. It's not about defining what love is, because love cannot be defined. Love is beyond definition. Love can only be experienced. And so the Course says we're not here to define what love is, but we're here merely to help humanity to remove all of the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, to the awareness that there's only the pure presence of love, and we are that. That we had placed all these blocks in between us and our reality. And so we're the only one that can remove the blocks. See, we got this idea that God is going to save us, going to remove the fear, He's going to remove the doubt, He's going to remove the pain, He's going to remove the difficulty. God's going to remove, we have this false idea. No, in reality, there's nothing there. The only thing that has to shift is our thinking. That is the miracle. Then when we come to realize that there is nothing there but love, and if it's making the appearance that it is something other than love, then it's a delusion. It's an illusion. It's a falsity, and it's designed to keep you imprisoned. But once our eyes are open, once the scale fall off of our eyes, and we but recognize our oneness with God and each other, that there's only one of us, that God is not something separate from us. Love is not something separate from us, but it is the one reality that we all share. Then we come face to face, like they say. We come face to face with ourselves. And I like what John says over in 1 John chapter 4. Or I like what Paul said over in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. He said, there's a time that we knew in part, and we perceived in part, we prophesied in part, we believed in part. He said, but then there comes a time that we become face to face, that we're not looking through a glass darkly anymore, but we can see clearly now that the reign of separation is gone. That we come face to face with our reality. That the picture and the frame are not two separate things, but they're one. We come face to face with the reality that as God is, or as love is, or as whatever you think is supreme, whatever your religion might be, it doesn't matter. Buddha, all the different religions, Christianity, Buddhism, name them, doesn't matter. This transcends all of that. All of that is form, and it fades away. But what reality says is the discovery that as reality is, as God is, as love is, so are we in this world right now. When you come face to face with the reality that you are everything and everything is you. Nothing is excluded. That's your day of freedom. That's your day of not independence, but that is your day of interdependence, where we realize that all things are the one thing. And we are part of that. And so the miracle concludes. That we are the immortal. We are the eternal. We are the infinite life. And we all share in that equally. Now we just got to bring these minds into alignment with that. That's why Paul said over in Philippians 2 and 5 and 6, let this mind, let this way of thinking, let this perception, let this be in you. Let the mind of God, let the mind of Christ, let this mind be in you that was also in the man Christ Jesus. Now you are the man or the woman. So let that mind be in you. That was in Christ, being in the form of God. Your appearance here, right now, you're being in the form of God. You're presenting yourself as God. Because man and God has become one. So your life is a life of God. Jesus said, have you not read that ye are gods? Have you forgotten who you are? So being in the form of God, Jesus thought it not robbery to be equal with God. In other words, he didn't think in his human incarnation that he was taking anything away from the divinity of God by saying he has equality with God. So he said, that's the mind you have to have if you're going to walk in peace, if you're going to walk in love, if you're going to walk in the abundant life, if you're going to walk in life more abundance. You have to think this way. You cannot think with a superior or an inferior mindset. It will only engender fear. But you must engender the mind of Christ, which says you have equality with your Creator as well with His creation. That is the only mindset that will bring you peace. The only mindset that brings us peace is our oneness with each other, our oneness with God, our oneness with love, with reality. It's the only one. So joining up in these groups, in these whole ideas that separate us, that makes us special, that demand sacrifice, and all these other crazy things that man has created as a way of making himself right, they're not necessary. They only engender more fear. They only create more separation. You found that out yourself. You already know that. I don't have to tell you. The only reality that brings peace is the knowing of yourself. And to know that you are the innocent, you are the divine, you are the holy, you are the infinite self that God is. Just settle into that. You can wear it, and you can wear it well, because that is your true nature. That will relieve you of all the anxiety and the fear and the troubled mind and the confusion that this world appear to be in. And so, workbook lesson 344. Man, I got to get going. Today's idea, which is a God idea, says, today I learn the law of love. Today. The only day you can do anything about is today. You can't do anything about yesterday. You can't do anything about tomorrow. But you absolutely can do something about today. And it says, today we're going to learn this law, which is called love. Why? Because this is the one law that exists. Remember, Jesus said, there's only one law that you need to be concerned about: to love the Lord your God, and to love your neighbor, and to love yourself, or to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Why? Because your neighbor is yourself. God is yourself. And the reason Jesus had to say it this way is because humanity saw itself during his day, and we still see ourselves during our day. Most humanity don't see themselves for what reality is. They see themselves separate from God and from one another. And so there's war and fighting, there's division, there's separation. There's this feeling of what? I have to defend myself, I have to protect myself, I have to kill before I'm killed. And you see what that thinking has brought us. You see the bloody past and the bloody present. And it's going to be a bloody future until humanity wakes up. But he said it this way because he was trying to get the point across. And I'm saying this way because I'm trying to get the same point across that my elder brother was trying in his day. That there's only one law. And when we align ourselves with the law of love, then we have aligned ourselves with every law. We have aligned ourselves with our best interests. We have aligned ourselves with the interests of others. We have aligned ourselves with the one will of God. So here it says, we're going to learn this law of love today. Why? Because it's it is of utmost importance that we understand that love is all there is. And you are that. And where we see ourselves other than this one eternal love, We see ourselves in limitation. We see ourselves as unworthy or unfit. We see ourselves as what? As vulnerable. We see ourselves from a perception that has its basis in sin consciousness, guilt, and fear. It is an error. And that's the error that needs to be corrected. That's the miracle. When we shift our perception, when we embrace the mind of Christ, when we say yes to our true identity and the identity of all humanity. It says, today that we learn this, it's called the law of love. That what I give to my brother is my gift to me. Why? Because my brother is me and I am my brother. See, this is the missing mystery that has been said in so many ways, that has been discovered in so many areas, in science and in philosophy and in religion. When you look out in the universe, when you look out in this planet called Earth, and you see the heavenlies, and you see the order, you don't see stars running into each other. You don't see the moon and the sun competing with each other. You don't see the clouds in the sky being offensive. You don't see the air being withheld. You don't see the ocean colliding. You don't see, and for the most part, you don't see nature at complete odds with one another. We only see this in the human experience. So even creation speaks to us. Let's say everything is in harmony. Everything is in oneness. Everything supports itself, each other. Not as separate cells, but as one self. Just different reflections of the same one self. And so we have to learn this law of love. We have to understand that whatever we give, whatever we share, whatever we say, whatever we think, whatever we do to others is but a gift to ourselves. We're doing it to ourselves. So consider what you would have for yourself and have that for your brother, because you are going to have it for yourself. Where are you withholding your love? Where are you withholding the equality? Where are you withholding the honor due and respect due? Where are you withholding it? Where are you holding a grievance against someone? Where are you seeing someone in a way that you don't even see yourself or would want to see yourself? Here the law says that what we give is what we receive, because giving and receiving is the same one act of love. That is the law of love. And it is impersonal. It's not a respect of person. That's why if you look out in the natural world, love does not respect person. God doesn't respect person, and neither should we. But what we are charged to be is loving, and to demonstrate that love, to teach only love. By what? By giving only that which we would want to give to ourselves. So we don't withhold our love. We don't withhold the equality that we all share. We don't withhold the honor due. because we know that the mark of God is on everyone. We can see it when you look at any other human being, regardless of their nationality, regardless of their race or their gender or their religion or their politics, regardless of the physical form difference. We see the face of Christ in everyone. We know that they're made in the same image and likeness that we share. We know the difference. And when we align our thinking, when we align our feelings, when we align our actions, to resonate with that, is when we begin to have the direct experience of love ourselves. And so, this is the law of love. All other laws are temporary. Even the law that holds this planet together is temporary. Even the nutritional law that gives you good health is temporary. Even the law of human thinking is temporary. The traffic law, the science laws, all other laws are temporary, but there's one law that is eternal, and it's called the law of love, and we're going to learn that today. It's the law of oneness, that we're all one. That as God is, so are we. That as I am, so is my neighbor. So what will you have for yourself? Have it for your neighbor. Because you're going to have it for yourself. So this is the law of love. This is our Father's law. This is the one principle of life. This is the creative principle of life. That every seed produces after its own kind. So what seed are you producing? What seed are you planting? What emotional, what psychological, what mental, what physical seeds are you planting? You will experience them. We don't get around it. The law is not a respective person. So it says this is God's law. This is the law of our Father, not our own. We make up our own laws. We make up natural laws. We make up human laws. And we need them, so that we don't totally destroy each other. But those laws are only to point us to the one law, which is the law of love. It says, we have not understood what giving means. We haven't understood what giving really means. Love does. It says that love so loved the world that it gave. It says, we have not understood what giving means and thought to save what we desired for ourselves alone. And as we looked upon the treasure that we thought we had to ourselves, we found an empty place where nothing ever was and is or will be. It's not there. God and love has placed itself in a specific place and not in an empty place. And it's not out there. It's you. God has placed everything in you and me. Why? Because we be God. We be God's creation. We be one with that. And so love is what you are. It's who you are. Who can share a dream That's the question. Who can share a dream? The dream here represents that which is temporal. Who can share that which is temporal? Because eventually, if it what? If it disappears, if it dissipates, what have we really shared? If it's not the truth, what have we really shared? If it's not reality, what have we really shared? But here it says, who can share a dream? And what can an illusion really offer us? What can it really offer us? Yet, he whom I forgive, or he whom you forgive, will give you gifts beyond the worth of anything on earth. That's the law of love. The one that you release, the person that you let go, the one that you forgive, will give you, because you have given it. So that means it'll be given back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over, as scripture says. When you give forgiveness, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, that's what you're going to receive in your life. When you give anything in life, you're going to receive it back, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So what are you giving? What is your attitude? How are you seeing yourself? That's what you're going to give to others. Are you seeing yourself based on reality, based on love? Then that's what you're going to give. If you see yourself as this separate individual self, having to defend yourself, that's what you're going to give. Self-defense. You're going to build a fence around your life. And you're going to hide out. You're going to isolate. You're going to withhold your love. You're going to withhold the very thing that you desire, thinking you're going to get it by withholding it. It doesn't come that way. We're trying to say here today that the law of love is not a respecter of what I think, but it's only a respecter of truth. And the truth is, there's only one of us, and what you give, you're giving to yourself. So let our forgiven brothers, let the whole world go free. Why would you not forgive anyone? Because you're not forgiving yourself when you do that. You're holding yourself imprisoned in an idea of an illusion that is causing pain and suffering in your own life. Where there's pain and suffering in my life or in your life, that's because I'm holding something against someone else, or holding it against myself. The only freedom, the only path to freedom is to let it go, is to forgive, to give that perception over for another perception. That's what forgiveness is. Giving up one false perception. You give up the false perception for that which is real, that which can't be threatened, that which brings the peace of God, that which brings happiness and fulfillment. And so, let my forgiven brothers fill my store with heaven's treasures, which alone are real. See, we can only fill each other because we're one and the same. And we can fill each other's with the treasures of love. But that cannot be accomplished as long as we're holding on to a grievance or holding on to an idea of separation, where we're making judgments based on form, based on race, based on nationality, based on religion, or based on politics, or all the different arenas that we separate ourselves and judge ourselves and make ourselves special and separate and apart from each other. We have to be willing to let all that go. The freedom is in the letting go. The freedom is in the letting go, the undoing. That's what salvation is. It is the undoing. That's what deliverance is. That's what healing is. That's what awakening or enlightenment is. It is the letting go of what is not real, of what is not true, of what is not eternal. It's just that simple. And we all have the power within ourselves to release or to let go. No one can take that away from you. No one can take your power to let go away from you. You could be in the darkest state. You can be in the deepest dungeon. You can be in the most guarded prison. You can be in a mental or physical or emotional state that you might call the bottom. It doesn't matter. In any of those states, you can make a decision in any given moment, in a holy instant, to decide to let all of that go. And in the release of that, you are releasing yourselves to your own freedom. It's called forgiveness. It's God's plan for salvation. There's no other way. No matter how big we build, how strong the organization may appear, how long it's been in existence, it really comes down to forgiveness. It's our only way out of our human dilemma. It is your only way out of the pain and the suffering and the disappointments, is to let it go. Let go of the grievance. It is what is creating the discomfort in our life. It is what's creating the fear and the anguish and the anxiety that we experience. And the miracle is the correction, where we change our perception. We begin to see through the eyes of God, or the eyes of Christ, or through the eyes of truth, or through the eyes of reality. And it's already present. It's what you already are. You don't need anybody or anyone's approval. You don't have to go to anybody. You don't have to submit yourself to anything but the truth itself. That's it. Love set it up that way, so we are without excuse. We are without excuse. We don't need anyone's affirmation, confirmation, sacramation, or whatever mation. All we need, or all we are required, is but to recognize the truth or the reality of who we are in any given moment, and let the world go free. Let go of all grievances. All of it. Because it's not real anyway. We discover in that moment that what we thought was done to us did not really occur. Because nothing in dreams are real. Nothing in dreams are reality or everlasting. They're just temporary experience. And if we want a different experience, we have to change our perception. That's the miracle. And so we become miracle workers among each other. We are the only one that can provide miracles to one another. Miracles happens among equals. There's no need for miracles in heaven. There's no need for forgiveness in heaven. There's no need for anything in heaven, because heaven is whole and complete. And it's not a physical place. It's a reality that we embrace. It's our identity that we embrace, that we are the heaven on earth. That wherever you are, heaven is. It's been spread out all over the world, like Jesus said, but most of us miss it. We're looking for something. We're looking for something in form. Heaven is not in form. Heaven is who you are. You discover you're the source of all things. So why would you want the thing when you're the source of it? You could create whatever you want. Thus, it says, thus is the law of love fulfilled. As all the world goes free, where all humanity is forgiven. Have you forgiven all humanity? Are you still holding a grievance? If you're holding one grievance, you're holding them all. Love must be total. Love must be complete. Love is all encompassing. So if anyone is holding any idea of separation and division because of any past experience, because of our culture, because of history, if you don't like this people or that people because of what may have happened, all of these crazy things that we entertain, not knowing the law of love is at work, not knowing that what we're entertaining for someone else, we're entertaining for ourselves. When we discover the law of love, we're willing to let it all go, because we realize what? The only thing that is real, the only thing that is permanent, the only thing that is eternal is you. So love is fulfilled. And thus, what God created arises and returns. Like the prodigal son. He came to himself. He said, I'm going back to my father's house. This world is not loving. My father was loving. I'm going back. And so all of us have the prodigal experience where we wake up and realize we have left a place that is impossible. So this journey that we've been on is a journey without a distance. We haven't really gone anywhere. We're just falling asleep. And when we wake up, we realize all things are as they were in creation, that I am who I am. I am that I am. I am my Father are one. When you see me, you have seen the Father, because there is no separation. When I see my brother, I have seen myself. Why? Because there is no separation. What I want for my brother is what I want for myself. So I gift my brother with only the gifts of love. And I deny the ego thought system any more sway in my life. It's a work in progress, though. It's an everyday work in progress. So when you wake up and you intentionally decide that you're going to show up in this world as love and as light, then heaven helps you. Heaven gives you the strength to forgive. God gives you the wherewithal to walk through the water, to walk across the mountain, to speak to the mountain, and to walk on the water. And so, here now, how near are we to one another as we go to God? So we're on this journey together. So let's journey together, knowing we have a common interest. We all have the same goal, that we all have the one purpose. As we return home. How near is God to us? That's the question. How near are we to each other? That's the question. How close the ending of a dream of sin consciousness, a dream of guilt, a dream of separation, a dream of fear. How close the end of that are we? And the restoration and the redemption of what God created. How close are you to the knowing of yourself? So that you can demonstrate and prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. I'm going to finish lesson 344 by reading out of the King James Version of the Bible in 1 John chapter 4. I'm just going to read. It's going to speak for itself. It says, "Ye are of God, my little children, and have overcome this world and the ideas of this world that are not love. Because greater is the love that is in you, or greater is the love that you are, than that which is not love that's in the world. Greater are you is the truth than the error." That's what he's saying. Verse 5. This whole idea of separation has come into the world. And so this whole idea doesn't speak of oneness, but it speaks of separation. It speaks of the world. And when we embrace that idea that's in the world of separation, we become one with that. That's where the pain and the suffering and the sorrow is experienced in our life. And then verse 6 says, "We are of God. We are of love. And that we that knoweth God heareth us," or knoweth love heareth us. "He that is not of love, or is not of God, heareth us not. Hereby know we the spirit of truth versus the spirit of error." And remember, the miracle comes to correct the error, and it's a shift in our thinking. And then it says, "Beloved, let us love one another." That's impossible till there's a shift in your thinking. To love everyone unconditionally. We can love in a way of specialness, but to love everyone, it takes the miracle of a shift in our perception. It takes the mind of Christ, where we only see equality with our Creator and with each other. That's the law of love. And as we embrace the law of love, we can love one another, for love is of God. And everyone that loveth continuously is born of God and knoweth God. Verse 8. "He that loveth not knoweth not God, and they knoweth not themselves, because themselves is God also." I'm just adding here because that's what it's saying. That's what's implied here. You cannot just know yourself without knowing God, because you and God are the same. You cannot know love without knowing yourself, because you are love. So he says, "He that loveth not by decision knoweth not himself," or knoweth not God. For God is love, presently and always will be. There's no exceptions. You hold one exception, then you don't know the love of God. One exception. Love must be total. Love must be whole. Love must be complete, because it is. It says, in this, in knowing this, in experiencing this, is manifested the love of God towards us, because that God sent his only begotten creation. He calls it his son. That represents all the sons unto the world, that we might live through this oneness. Herein is love. Not that we love God, but that God loved us and sent us and created us to be a representation of that love. Beloved, if God so loved us, we ought also to love one another. And then it goes on to say that God is love. And then it goes on to say in verse 17 that as God is, as love is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out all fear, because fear has torment. He that feareth is not made perfect by love. We are resisting. And if any man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he's not truthful. For he has not loved the very brother that God is. And this is the one commandment that we all have. And he that loveth God loveth his brother also. I can't say it any other way. That's pretty simple. That is pretty simple. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I enjoyed your presence, and we'll be back on tomorrow for another session of Truly Foundation with your host, Oliver Blue. Have a great day. Have a loving day. For love is all that there is. Bye-bye.